I'm Ravi Handa and welcome to another video on odd one out. In these type of questions, what you need to do is you need to go through these sentences which are given to you. As you can see, there are 5 sentences which are given to you here, and you need to identify the one sentence which is the odd one out, which doesn't fit in. The other 4 should form a coherent paragraph. Say, for example, if you think that 3 is the odd one out, then 1, 2, 4, and 5 should form a paragraph. Also, it is not necessary that the order of the sentences in the paragraph will be 1, 2, 4, 5. They could be in any order. The correct order might be 2, 4, 5, 1. Please note that in these questions, finding out the order is not your job. Your job is just to find out the sentence that does not fit. However, when you are practicing, I recommend that you try and figure out the order as well, because that skill of figuring out the order of sentences will help you in other type of questions such as parajumbles. Keeping that in mind, let's have a look at the sentences which are given to us in this paragraph. His idea to use sign language. Now, it is his idea, so this particular person, whoever it is, should have been introduced in the paragraph before. Was not a completely new idea, as Native Americans used hand gestures to communicate with other tribes. Ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, for example, observed that men who are deaf are incapable of speech. So can this be Aristotle? No, that person cannot be Aristotle, because his idea was to use sign language, and Aristotle is not the one which is talking about sign language. So 2 and 1 are not related, but this person must have been introduced in the paragraph somewhere else. People who were born deaf were denied the right to sign a will, as they were presumed to understand nothing, because it is not possible that they have been able to learn to read and write. Okay, so this is giving us some generic information about people who are born deaf. Another rule in parajumble questions, or when you have to use sentences to form a paragraph, is that you need to go from generic to specific. That thumb rule works in figuring out our paragraph. So this is a very generic information about people who were born deaf. This would probably be in the first part of the paragraph, if it is included. We still don't know if it will be there or not. Pushback against this prejudice began in the 16th century when Pedro Ponce de León created a formal sign language for the hearing impaired. Now, this helps me a lot. The person whose idea was to use the sign language, that particular person is Pedro Ponce de León. And this prejudice that is being talked about, that is the prejudice against deaf people, which kind of has been introduced to us in 3, but might have some other uses as well. But just from this, what I know is 4-1 forms a logical pair, and this pair of 4-1 should be there in my final paragraph. So whatever is my answer cannot be 4-1, because 4-1 exists as a pair in the final paragraph. Let's look at the last sentence now. For millennia, people with hearing impairments encountered marginalization because it was believed that language could only be learned by hearing the spoken word. So this is again a very generic statement about the people with hearing impairments, and they were marginalized. How were they marginalized? That is given to us in statement number 3, that they were not even allowed to sign a will. Pushback against this prejudice, the prejudice that is being talked about in sentences 5 and 3. So the paragraph, if someone asks me, the paragraph here would be 5-3-4-1. The problem that deaf people faced is introduced in 5. A more valid example of that is given to us in 3. And in 4 and 1, we are talking about the development of the sign language, making 5-3-4-1 is our paragraph. But please note, in odd one out, the question is not what the paragraph is, but which sentence will you leave out. The sentence that you will leave out in this case is sentence number 2. So our answer for this particular question will be 2. Hope you learned how to solve odd one out questions from this video. We will have more videos on this topic to follow. Thank you.
Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get notifications of future videos.